Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within. You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Buyer.
Hello, everybody. In this month's mini-sode, I wanted to discuss and share something that I think would help you moving forward, especially in these COVID times. As a podcast junkie, I listen obviously to many podcasts, one being the C.L.I.M.B, C.L.I.M.B podcast with Johnny Dwinell and Brent Baxter. I've mentioned it before, but the word CLIMB is an acronym that stands for Creating Leverage in the Music Business. And in this particular episode, it's episode 260 from the C.L.I.M.B podcast, if you want to look it up, they talk about the impact that internal dialogue has on your actions and obviously your outlook. This is coming from Johnny Dwinell in the podcast. He says that excuses are subtle, seductive, and believable. Let's think in there. Subtle, seductive, and believable. And Brent Baxter, who the other co-host of the podcast, made a statement that I thought was very profound in episode 260. He said, "We say things to ourselves that, if said to us by someone else, we would punch them in the face." Okay. Some numbers. Kids, on average, between the ages of 1 and 7, hear the word no on average 400 times a day. And many warranted because of fight or flight type scenarios. But if you add them all up, these no's add up to 146,000 times a year. And by the age of 7, okay, children, we hear the word no 1,022,000 times. 90% of potential Navy SEALs don't get through Hell Week because they quit. The difference in all of this, in terms of success, is what we tell ourselves. All right? So they suggest, okay, this is coming from Johnny and Brent, and I'm just passing it on to you all. And if you want to listen to that podcast, again, it's episode 260 of the C.L.I.M.B podcast with Johnny Dwinell and Brent Baxter. The difference is between the ears. Okay, I'm encouraging you all to operate from a place of gratitude, thinking about things you're grateful for, instead of operating from a place of excuses, which again are seductive and irrational and, in the end, believable. Okay, that's episode 260 of the C.L.I.M.B podcast. As for this podcast, the What's Your Inspiration podcast, we have a brand new episode coming up at the beginning of next month, which will be the month of March. And I'm very, very much looking forward to recording it and dispersing it out to the world. Until then, take good care. I will talk at you all later.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Buyer, because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.